Mother just had a stroke.
Oh my gosh.
She was hiking with her kid. Vessel burst in her brain, and now she's... I don't know.
I really like it, though. You were doing really good.
Because there's also like Mother by Danzig.
Mother. Yeah.
Special Mother's Day episode. Guest co-host.
Bridget Clarice.
Wait, is that your middle name?
Yeah, that's my middle name.
Oh.
Yeah, hello, Clarice.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are
the NeuroNerds. Yes, that was on time.
I feel pretty good about that.
NeuroNerds.
So I have a very special guest host because I don't have my normal host here because Lauren is out just being amazing. She might be out of the country right now, honestly. I don't really 100% know, but I did have brain injury, so I might know and I might remember later. But I have a very special guest host today, a Miss Bridget Chiovari, right?
Woo!
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, hopefully. Right? I don't know. It sounds pretty. I like it like that. I don't.
So a quick intro to who Bridget is. Bridget, and why this is actually really special to me. Bridget is the first stroke survivor that I met in person. Now, I've met other stroke survivors like when I was in physical therapy, but all those dudes and all those women were like in their 60s and 70s. So I was like, I don't really have much to talk to you about. Bridget was the first person that I met that was reasonably within my age, which was crazy. It was amazing. It was actually meeting you, Bridge. It was the first time where I actually felt like, oh, wow, there are others like me, aside of when I met my co-host, because she had a severe concussion and she goes through a lot of the same brain stuff that we go through. But like meeting you, I was like, oh my God, you're like me. It's like, we're like instant family.
Special. Yeah, it's amazing.
Can I tell you, I was like really, really nervous. And I remember like the morning of, I was just like, what am I going to wear? Should I wear a hat? Did I cut my hair? It was really, really weird. It was like going on a date for the first time. Like, and I remember I put way too much. Like I normally just like spritz myself with cologne on the way out. I put like way too much. And a friend of mine, the NeuroNerd music department, Sleep D's, was like, God, that's a lot of cologne. I was like, dude, I'm nervous. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, you got so fancy.
I did. Because normally I just stew in my own filth over here.
Ew. I remember you saying you're like, I'm nervous. And then I was like, wait, like, should I be nervous? Like, usually I'm a really nervous person, but I like wasn't nervous at all to meet you. And then I was like, maybe I should be nervous because I'm meeting some guy that I've never even met before in California, which I don't even live in California. I was like, maybe I should be nervous.
Well, you had your bodyguard there. You had your husband.
Yeah.
And you had your little kid bodyguards who are adorable. So, how are the little childrens? So Bridget has 2 kids.
Yeah, I have 2 of them.
Liliana, who is how old?
She's 4.
She's 4 years old. And Roman, who is like the most adorable kid in the world. He has like a little man face.
Everyone says that. They say that like he looks like a man already. Like he like looks like a man child. I don't know.
he kind of looks like a 50-year-old man just shrunken down.
He literally looks like my father-in-law.
So what's crazy is, so I met Bridget. Bridget is a stroke survivor. What type of stroke did you have, Bridge?
I had a hemorrhagic stroke. I don't even know if I say that right.
Oh, you're saying it right.
Okay, yeah, hemorrhagic stroke due to a ruptured AVM.
I had a hemorrhagic stroke due to high blood pressure induced hemorrhagic stroke. So both of us were brain buddies. Now we're both bleeding brain buddies. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that.
What does that mean? Yeah, that sounds really weird. It sounds like we're on our period. So.
My brain for a little bit was on its period. It was weird. My brain was actually bleeding. I actually saw pictures of you in the hospital online, on your page. I can't look at those, Bridge. I cry.
Oh.
How do you feel about seeing yourself back then? Does it make you feel weird? Does it make you feel strange?
I love it. Maybe that just goes back to my obsession with photography, but I like seeing those pictures. I would honestly put those in frames around my house. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
It's nice to see them and just look back at holy shit, look at all the progress that's been made. So I like seeing them. That's kind of weird.
Oh yeah, well, it screams Bridget though.
Yeah,
No,
right.
it took me over a year, like over a full year, to actually look at the pictures of me in the hospital. It
Wow,
was
really?
it was a lot. Like it was strange because it was weird because I don't have a lot. I had some memory loss. I don't know if you had memory loss.
Yeah.
And so I kind of woke up, and when I came to, I was like, oh, I have a hole in my head. That's weird. Like I had this like gnarly scar from where they went in and drained my brain. So that was really, really weird. So I didn't know that. And then I was curious, but then I was like, no, I don't want to see myself. I'm going to freak out. And I remember my sister early on in my recovery, maybe like a month or so out of the hospital, she showed me a picture. I thought I was going to end up back in the hospital. I might start to panic. My blood pressure raised. I was like freaking out. So
Oh,
it took me like a full year to look back and see that, because I was like a different person, you know, like you almost look, and I don't mean to sound morbid here, but clearly you don't mind sounding morbid.
right.
I look like I was dying, you know, like I look like I was on my deathbed. It was hard to look at, but it is a nice reminder. You're right, how far we've come.
Yeah, and like it looks like you were dying because you were. You know what I mean? And it's like it's a good reminder that like you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So get that picture blown up and put it above your bed, Joe. It's a good reminder.
There is nothing that's going to turn on my beautiful girlfriend more than a picture of me with a hole in my head looking like death in a hospital. That's, you know, who needs an aphrodisiac? There it is. Just me right there. But
I'm a love doctor.
apparently when I was in the hospital, I did flash a lot of people. So, you know,
Oh, wow.
that's sexy, I guess.
Oh my God. Wait,
So
but how do you feel about looking at the pictures now?
now I'm a lot more at ease with it. You know, I look back and I kind of have that, wow, I've come a long way. So anytime I get really down on myself, which is unfortunately a lot more times than I like to admit, I look back and I'm like, hey, you are doing good. Like you're kind of killing it in comparison, you know? And those pictures are like a beautiful reminder. Also, Felice is an amazing reminder too, because I say it often on the show and I say it a lot just in life. I have like little mini breakdowns every once in a while where I get crazy overwhelmed, overstimulated, and it's like too much. And then I literally just break down. And I'm just like, ooh, and I'm an ugly crier, Bridge. It is not cute.
Aren't we all?
Felice, without hesitation, she'll always come up and she'll rub my back and she'll say, hey, you're doing great. And without hesitation, I'll respond back with, this is not what great looks like. But she's right. She's right. You know, and if you look back at those pictures, you know, we could still be in that bed. Even worse, we could not be here. So as weird and as crazy as it gets, I'm actually really, really thankful to be here and to be able to look at those horrendous pictures that you want me to plaster up on my walls.
Yeah, do it. Frame them. 8 by 10.
Oh my God, no, I would just do like the entire ceiling. Like, what's that mural of the two
like the fat head? Oh yeah.
Actually, no,
I know what I'm going to get you for Christmas.
I would definitely do a fat head of me in the hospital, like on a wall. I think that would be incredible. So this is kind of like a special Mother's Day episode because this is releasing the week of Mother's Day. Bridget, being the amazing mother that you are, why this is like even more special is you're going to tell your story in a second, but I'll give like the quick spoiler. Is there spoiler alerts when it comes to like almost dying stories? So Bridget is an avid hiker, right? So she loves nature. She's an incredible photographer. She was hiking with her daughter, Liliana, and she was pregnant with her son, Roman, right? When disaster struck. So if you don't mind telling the people what happened.
So we went hiking and my daughter was playing on the ground. And so I was with a group of my other friends and we're all hiking together and we decided it's time to go. Like, let's pick our kids up and put them in our carriers and get on our merry old way. And so when I picked her up, I felt like a pop in my head. And so, it was really weird. I automatically got super dizzy. Things started moving around me. And then the weirdest part, I remember this so vividly, any drop of saliva that I had in my mouth was gone. It was my mouth was so dry. I've never experienced that before.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, it was so weird. Did you feel like that during your stroke?
With the saliva? I am. So this is the first time I'm actually doing a remote interview and I can see the person, which is awesome. So I'm taking a picture of this.
I would have dressed up, Joe. You were I'm not going to see you.
Bridge, you look amazing. You wake up and you look gorgeous. Like, let's be honest.
Okay.
You can't look bad, except for that one picture that I have saved as your picture in my phone.
I seriously love that you did that, though. That's like my favorite.
Where you look like a dead fish. So when it happened to me, I felt the pop. Like, I know the exact second that I had my stroke, where the right basal ganglia burst in my brain. And then a split second later, every muscle fiber in my body just turned to jelly. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was so strange, but I didn't have the dry mouth. It might have been, maybe because it was you were hiking.
I don't know. Yeah, it was, because my friends were like, here, maybe you should try and like eat something, or maybe you should try and drink something. And I remember like I tried to like eat a cracker. It just felt like powder in my mouth.
Oh, wow.
Like I was trying to eat like flour. It was the weirdest. I don't know why that moment so like vividly stuck with me, but I remember it like crazy. After that, I sat down for a while and I was like, okay, well, like obviously I can't just stay here all night. Like we have to like make it back. And I think we were about like 3 miles from our cars. And so we very slowly hiked back. And luckily, one of my other friends like took my daughter so that I wasn't having to carry her down.
But you still had to carry your son who was inside of you.
Yeah. That was,
gosh.
Yeah, because when you're pregnant, you're just super uncomfortable to begin with. I had a few episodes prior to this where I felt some kind of crack in my neck. Like my neck would be really stiff and I would feel some kind of crack and it would be like a headache. But it wasn't like the worst feeling. And I talked to my doctor about this multiple times, but they said it was pregnancy.
I've heard that. So with me, I suffered for like months. Tremendous neck pain. Like just really, really bad neck pain. And turns out, like I'm talking to doctors now and they're like, yeah, you're not supposed to have neck pain ever unless like you really pull something. You're not supposed to have like extended periods of time. And I had like, it was months, maybe even years where I just had like a sore neck. I just chalked it up to, oh, maybe it was a bad pillow. Maybe I just slept wrong.
Yeah.
No, it was my body saying, idiot, you're going to die. I did nothing about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I contacted my doctor about it multiple times. They're just like, you're pregnant, you're uncomfortable, basically get over it. And so I actually made an appointment with a chiropractor and I was supposed to go see a chiropractor the day after my stroke had happened. So if it didn't happen that one day when I was hiking, it probably would have happened the day after when I was at the chiropractor. Because I guess a lot of strokes, like, what is that word? Are triggered? Is that a lot of strokes are like triggered during like chiropractors?
So what's really crazy about like chiropractors, I was reading or watching like a show and they were talking about like you can have a stroke from a chiropractor, like them adjusting your neck. There's like a nerve. And if they do it too hard, put too much pressure, it'll shave off a tiny piece of the nerve. And then that nerve will just kind of float around in your body, work its way up to your brain. You have a clot and you have a stroke.
Fact check. The stroke risk from chiropractic neck adjustment is not shaving off a nerve. According to the American Heart Association, the energetic thrusts and rotations sometimes used in neck manipulation may cause a small tear in the artery walls in the neck, a condition called cervical arterial dissection. A tear in the artery wall can result in a stroke if a blood clot forms at the site and later breaks free to block a blood vessel in the brain.
It's really rare, but they're like, don't let a chiropractor like really crack your neck. And what's funny, I was like, oh, wow, that's weird. One of Felice's friends actually was like, oh, I had a stroke. So Felice was like, oh, well, what happened? She was like, oh, I was at a chiropractor. Chiropractor did adjustment on my neck, shaved off a nerve, worked its way up, and I had a stroke. So we actually know one of those people. So
see that I'm never going to a chiropractor. Like I hear really good things about them, but I'm like, there's no way I can't do it.
Go to the chiropractor. Just don't let them mess with your neck.
I'm not even going to chance it. There's no way. I can't.
Wait,
That's scary.
So you went on the hike. It took a couple hours to get back. Your brain was just bleeding this entire time.
Yeah, it was.
Were you, okay, now I don't mean this like in a weird way, but like, were you like mentally deteriorating? Did you find yourself struggling to like think, to function, to move?
No, like it was progressively getting worse, but at this point it wasn't at the worst. I was very dizzy and I had a headache and I was throwing up. But due to the pregnancy, I was throwing up a lot before this and I was having headaches a lot before this. So like me having to pull over 7 times to throw up really wasn't like out of the ordinary,
wow. Yeah, so it was basically covered up with your pregnancy.
Yeah. So anything that was going on, I was like, well, it's pregnancy, you know? So it wasn't the worst at that point, but I did drive home, which thinking back now, I'm like,
Bridget.
I know, I'm like, how stupid was I? I drove like myself and then my daughter. Like it would be fine if it was just myself, but it's like I drove my daughter too.
Right.
So like that's like, ugh, it still like makes me so mad at myself, but whatever.
Well, you know, in your defense, you did have a brain injury. So there's that.
Yeah, but I feel awful about that. So guilty. The mom guilt is real all the time. It's so annoying.
Yeah, but you're okay. So like, let's just talk about you being a warrior princess. Like, it's crazy. Number one, I think it's super dope that you were hiking with your kid, which is cool. That's just amazing in itself. You were hiking with your kid while pregnant with your other kid. That's super doper. Like that's amazing. Like that's really, really cool, you know?
Yeah.
But to have a stroke while doing that, while hiking with your children, pregnant with your other child, and then work your way back and then drive home. Oh my gosh, how tough are you?
I always brag about that. I do have a high pain tolerance. But
seriously.
Yeah, or that's just like insanity. I don't know, one or the other.
I'm going to lean towards like it's a combination of both for sure. Because Bridget, you're amazing. Yes, you are batshit crazy. That's why I love you.
Thanks, Joe.
You're also a strong, independent woman.
Yes. I would sing that song. I always want to sing that INDEPE, but then I always forget how to spell independent. So it doesn't work out very well.
It's okay. No matter what, it's always brain injury.
Yeah,
you know?
right?
Come on. I pull the stroke card so often that Felice is like, come on, no more. It's not a thing anymore.
I need to start doing it more often. I think you said one of my favorite quotes ever is, I only had a stroke so that I could use it as an excuse. And I'm pretty sure you said that.
So you guys can't see me, but Bridge can see me in this little thing. So like you just put your hands up like this and you just go, yeah, but I had a stroke.
Oh my
I almost
God.
died. My brain was bleeding. So then you like, yeah, I didn't want to go to that thing anyway. But come on. Hey, we almost died so we can use this thing. Use it on your husband.
Damn right. Yeah.
Make it happen.
I need to.
How did you break it to your husband?
What do you mean?
Like, how did that happen? Was it a phone call? Did he see you? Like, was he at home when you got back?
Yeah. So he was actually home. He was making dinner. I called him and I was like, I have a really bad headache again, because I was having headaches almost daily. I was a beverage cart girl on a golf course, and it was September. So like temperatures are above 100 degrees then.
Oh,
and so daily, like I was getting pretty beat up out there and I was getting dehydrated all the time.
Did that trigger the AVM rupture?
No. It was bound to happen. It was just literally a ticking time bomb in there waiting to explode.
Oh my God. That makes me so uncomfortable. So how did your husband react? Like, was it just like, oh, well, it's just another headache? Or was there something special about this one?
Yeah. So like he was like, okay, you're having another headache. It's fine. And I like started throwing up, and then I like try to sleep it off a little bit. And then obviously you haven't had to go through birthing classes, but when you take birthing classes, they teach you like breathing techniques, like for when you're in labor. At some point, I was laying in my bed and my head was pounding, and I noticed myself doing those breathing techniques. And I pride myself in having a very high pain tolerance. So I was like, holy shit, like if I'm like having to like breathe like this, like there must be something wrong. And so then I asked my husband to take me into the hospital. Yeah, we went in there, and they basically, when you're pregnant, they can't give you anything really. And so they basically just gave me they gave me Tylenol in a IV bag.
Why don't they just give you like an ice pack and a Band-Aid? Are you kidding me?
Right? I know. I was like, at least give me a shot of whiskey or something.
Yes.
It was bad. Yeah. They just like said that it was dehydration, which I went into labor early with my first one because I was dehydrated. And so I have a previous background of being dehydrated. So they just kind of thought that was it.
Oh, wow. They actually thought that I was dehydrated too, because I was throwing up. Yeah, I was throwing up so much that when I went to the hospital, they were like, well, it's probably dehydration. It wasn't dehydration. I almost died.
That's crazy. Like, I thought that they threw it my way just because I'm an idiot and I don't drink enough water. But like, they're just throwing that out to everyone.
Yeah. I guess the symptoms are like really, they're close. They're similar. I guess, I don't know. People with bleeding brains kind of seem like we're dehydrated.
Fact check. The reason why the doctor thought, at first, that Joe was dehydrated was because Joe's family said that they thought he was suffering from food poisoning. And so, the doctor thought he was dehydrated from throwing up for almost 36 hours.
Something that's like totally off topic, and I don't even know if you know like the answer to this, but heat stroke, is that like an actual stroke?
No, it's not like an actual stroke because like blood doesn't stop going to your brain. I don't know why they call it heat stroke. You want to know what's really funny? I didn't know what a stroke was until I had a stroke.
Yeah.
Right? I had no idea. I always thought, oh, the person had a stroke. Oh, it's like a heart attack.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
It's not. It's basically, it's a heart attack for your brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know what it was. And then when I heard, like, I grew up where you get like really hot and you get like lightheaded and dizzy. It's like, oh, you have heat stroke because you were out running around in 100-degree weather. It's not a stroke. You know what? Let's rename heat stroke something else. This is ridiculous.
I know. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That's like, that seems crazy. They do need to come up with a name.
Fact check. Joe and Bridget are correct. Heat stroke, also known as sunstroke, is a type of severe heat illness that results in a body temperature greater than 104.0 degrees Fahrenheit and causes confusion. It is not an actual stroke.
Do you have full memory of everything that happened, or was there a certain point where it's like, yeah, it's black. I don't know anything.
Okay, so they sent me home after I had my IV bag and my Tylenol, and they sent me home. My last memory is my husband driving us home. I remember like something in my brain going off like, holy shit, something is not right. You're going to die. Something's not right. But at this point, like my brain wasn't communicating to my mouth. Like I couldn't speak and I couldn't like voice what I was feeling. And I just remember like going crazy in the car and I was like hitting everything and I was like trying to scream. And I was like, my husband was like, holy shit, Bridget, like you need to stop. Like he was like, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking, but I was like going crazy. And then that was the last thing I remember at that point.
For how long? How long did it go gray, I guess?
Like a month.
Oh, for a month? Yeah. You know what's funny? For me, it was a full month. A full month I have no recollection of.
Yeah, because I don't remember pretty much any of my ICU stay. I want to say I don't remember that, but whatever I do remember from my ICU stay didn't actually happen. And it was just like my brain going crazy.
Oh, Bridget, you have an amazing story. It makes me giggle. So what happens to your brain is like your brain stops getting oxygen. In our case, our brain was bleeding. So like the blood is literally drowning brain cells. It's murdering brain cells in our brain. It makes you think differently. You don't think rationally. You kind of sometimes make things up, make up scenarios. And that kind of happened to Bridget with her beautiful, amazing husband. Your husband's a saint. I love that dude. But what did you think was happening with your husband?
I thought that he was trying to kill me when it was... I feel so bad for him when, like, the first time that I like woke up, they were like, do you know why you're in the hospital? And I was like, yeah, because my husband fucking hit me with a shovel in the head. And that did not happen. Like, I don't know why I claimed that. I feel so.
Bridge,
I don't know.
That's so specific that I'm sure they believe that your husband hit you in the head with a shovel. Because I gotta tell you, you're all of my brain buddies are really small people. Like you're like a pocket-sized person. You're like really, really little. And your husband's not like the tallest dude in the world, but like he's a man. You know, he's much larger than you are. That makes me laugh so hard. It's morbid, but that is funny. Didn't you think the doctors were trying to get you too, or was it just your husband?
Yeah, no, the doctors and the nurses and my husband. I believed in my mind that they were all in like cahoots with each other. I believe that the nurses were sleeping with my husband. I'm pretty sure I like accused multiple nurses of sleeping with him behind my back. And like, it was really bad. And I feel really bad about it. And I've apologized to all the hospital staff that I could, because I mean, I was a nightmare, I'm sure.
Oh my God. This is the best thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay, so like obviously we can joke about it now because like some people I'll make like a lot of stroke jokes. Hey, that actually sounds like a thing. And people are like, do you think you should be joking about that? I'm like, yes, I lived. I survived. So yes, I should be joking about it because I'm
You
here.
have the right to. Yeah. And humor is like very important in situations like this. You know, if you can't laugh and smile about it, then I mean, you're just going to be miserable about it.
I mean, let's just lay out this scenario. Okay. So like, what isn't funny about a pregnant woman having a stroke and then blaming her husband for hitting her over the head with a shovel, and that's why she's in the hospital? There's nothing not funny about that.
It needs to be a comedy.
Oh my God. You know what I really feel bad for? I feel bad for, well, normally I feel bad for your husband because you really bother your husband. I've seen you poke at him. I'm not like, I mean physically. I'm not going to say where you poke him because, you know, but I think it's so funny that you pick on your husband. When I met him, he's like the nicest dude in the world.
No, he's definitely not. He does it first. Like what's that word?
He's the instigator.
Yeah. That's what he's one that starts it. And the only reason that you don't see the other side is because he doesn't have an Instagram, Joe. If he had an Instagram and if he was posting all the stuff that he does, then you'd be like, okay, she's not that mean.
I would just love to see how he reacted when somebody came up and they're like, well, sir, your wife says that you hit her over the head with a shovel? Is that like, how do you talk? Like, how do you explain, well, how do you actually have to say, well, I've never hit my wife over the head with a shovel? That's right? So specific. That's so funny that our minds go in these crazy places. But not only that, the fact that like not only did he get you in the hospital by hitting you over the head with a shovel, pregnant woman hitting her over the head with a shovel, but he's sleeping with nurses that are trying to save your life, and he's conspiring with doctors who are there to save your life to murder you.
I know.
This is a TV show. This is amazing. M. Night Shyamalan needs to make this into a movie. Are you a stroke or brain injury survivor looking for a community and support? Well, the NeuroNerds are here to help. Join our #UsoRock Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/UsoRock to connect with other survivors like you.
Plus, read other inspirational brain injury survivor stories on Joe's blog at josorocks.com/UsoRock. And submit your stories there as well. We want to hear them.
And remember,
you so rock.
Stop laughing at it.
I think we had the same thing done. We had to get the tube like into our skull, right? And it like drained.
Yes.
Fact check. Bridget is referring to the external ventricular drain that she and Joe both had to undergo in order to regain the proper pressure in the brain after their hemorrhagic strokes.
Yeah, so I had that done, and they like have to shave your head, and they put the dressing on your head with like the tape, and it like makes all that stuff stay in. Well, when one of the doctors was taking off the dressing, like after my tube left, whatever, after they took the tube out, one of the doctors was taking it off, and he was like ripping it off. Like he wasn't even trying to be like nice about it, And I punched him, Joe. I punched the doctor, the poor doctor. Oh my God.
No, not poor doctor. He should have been more gentle. Have a better bedside manner.
Now, I'm like thinking that now, but like,
you should have punched him in the
violence
dick.
is never the answer. Oh my gosh.
No, wait, is it never the answer or is it always the answer? Wait, no, you don't have the kids around, right?
Yeah, my kids are not around, and still violence is not the answer,
cool.
Joe.
It is always the answer. Oh my gosh, I wanted to hit the doctors apparently, but I didn't hit any of them. I did flash several.
Ooh, that's a lot more friendly. Like that's,
I don't know why.
That's nice. I
was just letting it fly. It's just kind of a thing that like happened. I had to apologize to so many of Felice's friends. It was weird.
I'm so glad though hearing like these other stories. Like I'm so glad I'm not the only one that completely lost their mind.
No, but you're definitely top tier.
Oh my! Thanks, Joe. That's on the award I want to win.
So what I did is apparently, so like, we have all those wires and these tubes coming out of our head. Apparently, like I just kept on nonstop trying to take them out.
Oh, that's gross, Joe.
I would just, Felice would tell me that I would just be like, oh, what's this? And I would just try to take it out. And she's like, no, you can't do it. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And then like a second later, I would just do it again because I had short-term memory loss. So I didn't remember her telling me not to do it. So she had to explain to me, because I'm a nerd. She was like, you're in Arkham Asylum. Like, she's like, like Batman? She's like, you're like a villain. You got caught and you're in Arkham Asylum. So they have to strap you down. You can't touch this. And I was like, oh, okay. So apparently that worked. You have to know who you're talking to, I guess. But I don't think at any point did I think my girlfriend is trying to murder me.
Wow.
Or that she hit me over the head with a shovel. Bridge, it's so specific. And I'm sure it was as real as this conversation is right now. That like, no, my husband is trying to kill me. The doctors are trying to kill me.
That was the scary part. Like, it's like, I genuinely believed all of this stuff that like was going on, like my husband would like come and visit me and I'd be like, I don't want to see this guy. Like, what? Like, I did not want him near me. I thought he was trying to kill me.
You're like, get out of here with your whore nurses.
Yeah. And then the nurses too. Like, I was like, I didn't want anything to do with them.
So being a mother and recovering from, this life-threatening injury, this life-threatening condition, how long did it take you to recover to just come back and be mommy,
That was hard because I spent about a month in the ICU. And then when I came home, I wasn't able to take care of myself, obviously. Right. And so I wasn't able to really take care of my daughter either. So my daughter went to go stay with my parents during the day, a lot of the days. Mm-hmm. And then my husband would be home with me. But it was, I don't know, I want to say it was probably about a month before anybody like left me alone with my daughter. And I could like actually like kind of take care of her.
Was it difficult to have that barrier between you and your kid?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I've never spent a night away from my daughter until my hospital stay, my ICU stay. And so even being away from her during that time, I remember like going crazy and then not having her like there during the day. It was like, it was really depressing.
So how many months were you pregnant with Roman?
So I had him at 37 weeks.
Oh, you lost me.
I know. Yeah. Pregnancy is really weird. They like measure it out in weeks and not months. And it's like, it's really confusing. But it was, like full term is 40 weeks, right?
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So I had him 3 weeks early.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So how recovered were you when you actually gave birth?
Not very recovered at all. Oh. It was really hard because when I went into the hospital, I always get this wrong. I think I was 25 weeks pregnant when I went into the hospital from my stroke. And then when I got out, I think I was like 28 weeks, I think.
Right.
And so I grew a lot during that time. Like the baby got bigger. And so walking, it wasn't really doable without a walker. Mm-hmm. And walking with like the extra weight from the baby was so crazy. Like it was like I went to sleep and then overnight I like gained 20 pounds. It was really weird, which I actually lost a lot of weight in the hospital, but it felt like I gained a lot of weight because the baby was just getting bigger.
Yeah. I had kind of the opposite, the same, but the opposite. I lost like 30 pounds.
Yeah. Were you eating?
I was fatter. That was another, like physically I wasn't in the greatest of shape. That's why my blood pressure was so high and I was heavier. I was barely eating. I had zero appetite. Even getting out of the hospital for the first like 2 months, I had like no appetite. Like it was hard to eat. Yeah. I was just like skin and bones and my muscles were all atrophied because I hadn't walked in a month. It was a lot, but I didn't have a human being growing inside of me. So I can't really complain about how weird my body feels.
Yeah, it was really abnormal.
Thank you to our amazing community on Patreon for supporting this podcast.
You can support us too and get different perks and gifts depending on which Neuro Jedi tier you sign up for. For example, if you're on our Neuro Padawan $5 tier, then you're probably listening to this episode a day early before its public release.
Your support helps us grow and continue to create this podcast. Plus, a portion of the proceeds go to a different cause or individual in the brain injury survivor community each month. Sign up at patreon.com/the NeuroNerds. I didn't have a walker, but I did have a cane that I hated. I've stated it
Ooh,
time and time
that sounds
again.
cool, Joe.
I hated it. Hated it. You can see me. I'm doing quote fingers. I would forget my cane every time like I went out. I had like 2 canes. I had an indoor cane and then I had an outdoor cane. So then when we would go out, like, you know, you just kind of get in the car and then you drive and then like you get out and use your cane when you walk. And I would get out of the car and Felice is like, oh, where's your cane? I'm like, oh, I forgot. I didn't forget it. I just didn't want to carry it around.
I was the same exact way. My walker, I mean, come on. Like, that's not cute to walk around with a little walker. And so I wouldn't take it, but I would use a stroller because I never used strollers ever with my first, like ever. I never used one, but I got one just so I could use it as like a walker because it's kind of like the same.
It is. That's actually,
like
actually genius.
Yeah. Like even now I use it when we go to like crazy places that have a lot of people moving around. I get really dizzy and that's like when I start falling a lot. And so I use the stroller in instances like that.
I saw you do the show the picture of you walking in a straight line from when I think you were in the hospital, right?
No, I think I took a video. I think it was like a year and a half after.
Okay, I know you were rocking a Yankees cap, and that made me very happy.
Yeah, I'm a Yankees fan by marriage because my husband's from New York, so he's a huge Yankees fan.
Wait, he's from New York?
Yeah.
I think we might have talked about that, but again, I had a brain injury, so.
Yeah, I forget too.
So how's your balance today?
It's so weird because I just recorded another video to like see my progress. When was it? That was like a couple weeks ago. And my balance that day that I just did it a couple weeks ago was worse than the video that I took a year ago.
Oh, wow.
I definitely noticed like it just depends on what I'm doing. If that makes any sense. Like the sleep that I'm getting, like
it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, just like the brain stimulation I don't know, Joe. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
I literally, you don't have to say, like, I understand 100% because like a lot of my deficits sometimes, like I have like, the physical deficits that I have tremors in my right hand and that's kind of a pain in the ass, but that just that gets set off like if I have to like write. The brain stuff, like the forgetfulness, that happens when I'm stressed out, when I'm tired, when there's a lot of stimulation going on. Then it starts happening a lot. I'm like, where are my headphones? Like I have my little earbuds because they keep the stimulation down. I have them on or with me 24 hours a day. Every once in a while, I'll be like, wait, where'd I put them? Why did I put them down? It's because that day I didn't sleep enough the night before. There was a lot going on. There was stressful conversations. All of these things lead into all of our deficits like spiking, which is kind of a pain. But it's nice to know. It's nice to know because, again, having brain injuries, every once in a while, it's like, am I going crazy? Like, is there, like, I know there's something wrong with me, but is there something wrong with me? And also, I think you're kind of the same way. You're probably not very nice to yourself.
I know. Yeah, I need to work on that. I'm so nice to other people, but to myself, I'm like, ugh.
You're a mom. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny because I was sitting there with my kids the other day. I was like naming off people that we love, you know, so I was like grandma and grandpa and your cousins. And then Liliana was like, but what about yourself?
Oh my God, your daughter is incredible.
Oh my God. I was like, I like wanted to cry. I was like, oh my God. Like
I want to cry right now. You are raising the future. That is so beautiful.
Yeah. So it's like I instill all these things into her head and like it's good that like she's like growing up and like perceiving it. Is that the right word? Perceiving it? But it's like, I need to do the same thing.
Yeah. You know what's beautiful? Setting the example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's hard though. I tell people all the time, like so apparently I talk to survivors way too often. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's Bridge. It's a problem. So my occupational therapist, she like took my phone and looked at like my phone usage. And we figured it out about every day. I average talking to survivors close to 7.5 hours a day.
Oh my God, Joe.
So the problem is it's not like 7.5 hours straight. It's not because I talk to people all over the world. So at like, even last night I went to sleep about like 3:30, which is normal. I live in a creative household. We go to sleep later. And I was talking to a woman in Belgium. I was talking to my friend in Macedonia. I was talking to 2 people in Australia. So it's like, it's all hours of the day at some point I'm talking to somebody. And the thing is, I don't want to not do that. It makes me feel good. Like it gives me, I don't know why I came back from this. I think one of the reasons is to help other people, you know?
Yeah.
And it gives me so much joy and I don't know, it makes me feel things. God, I feel like a sociopath. It makes me feel, but I love that. But a lot of times, all the stuff that I tell them, like, I feel like a hypocrite because I don't do it myself. Like people will be like, yeah, I feel like an idiot because this happened and that happened. And I'll tell them the same thing. I'm like, look, if you're going to beat yourself up for this one thing that you did wrong, those 30 things that you did right, you have to pat yourself on the back. And if you don't do that, you can't beat yourself up, you know? Like you have to be fair. Yeah. And then with me, like everything will be fine. And then one thing, I'll forget something or I'll do like just something strokey. And I'll be like, I'm an idiot. Everything sucks. I don't know why I'm like that.
But that's so important. Like that's another reason why it's so important to like have this community so that we can constantly be like picking each other up when we see that happening, you know, because we're not always nice to ourselves and we should be, but
we're not, you know, I've been struggling the last like couple of weeks. Kyle actually hit me up and he was like, yeah, you know, I know a lot of stuff's going on. He's like, you know, you can't go into hiding. You got to like be upfront and like tell people like what's going on. I appreciated that. And Sarah, you know, my stroke wife.
Oh yeah.
she has been amazing and she's kept me like sane and she told me that like, you know, show that you're weak because I was like, I don't want people to see like me being weak. I feel, you know, it might be like a self-given title. I'm like a pillar in this community. Like I feel like I'm kind of like one of the people that I want people to be like, yeah, I want to fight forward like that dude. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
If they see me struggling, it's like, why do I want to follow that guy? Look at him struggle.
I know, but it's also like important for them to see both sides of it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I agree with that. It's so hard, Bridge. It's so hard. I mean, the problem is I'm really vain. I didn't know I was this vain, but I'm very vain. So I don't want people to see me in a certain way. I don't want them to see me weak. I think that's why I never really posted pictures of myself in the hospital before because I look so weak. And I don't want people to look at that and then look at me and be like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want pity, you know?
Yeah, that was definitely a huge like overcoming that I had where I just kind of like had a point where I said to myself, like, I don't really give a shit because I was so worried about like for so long that people were going to perceive me as being weak or like wanting attention or I don't know, just like what's another? I don't remember what I was going to say.
I know.
Going with that.
I know nothing of what that feels like, Bridge. No, but it was actually really freeing for me to post pictures of me in the hospital. It was because the response I got back was incredible. You know, even recently, I posted like a quick little video where I wasn't doing too well, and I was like, you know what? I'm really not doing well. I want to be better. But right now it sucks. And, you know, a woman who I've been chatting with for a while, she said, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm really glad that you're struggling right now. And I was like, what? I was like,
yeah,
so
I mean, it makes sense.
But she was like, you know, she's like, I see all these people. I see you guys and you're doing such amazing things. And I'm struggling day in and day out. And I'm like, why can't I just be like that? She's like, so it's good to see that you guys are like human and you struggle like us, you know? So that's when I was like, I have to be honest. I can't hide that, you know, I struggle a lot. You know, I can't just pretend everything is fine because sometimes it sucks. The thing is, don't get stuck in that feeling, you know?
Exactly. Yes. Just learn how to like work through it and then move on. But you can't get stuck in that same. Yeah.
I was a very negative person. I was a very like depressed, anxious person before the stroke. And I didn't really talk to anybody about it because I didn't really have the support system. With you and the rest of the Brain Buddies, because I have like this beautiful core group of survivors that I talk to like basically almost daily. And you guys give me the motivation that I need. And you guys give me the caring and the loving. This is what's beautiful about our community, Bridge.
Yes, absolutely.
Caring and loving and helpful. Like all we want to do is help other people, no matter what, you know, like we just want to help. So everybody out there, understand you guys don't have to do this alone. You really don't. It's really easy just to reach out and say, hey, you know, hey, what's up? And now it's weird to do it to strangers. Yes. If you guys are listening to the show, we're not strangers. You know, we just haven't met yet, but you guys know me. You guys know Lauren, my like you guys know who I am. Reach out. I'm actually asking you say what's up. Like I try to reach out to a new survivor every single day. I try to reach out and connect and build this community, and I'll kind of say the same thing. So, hey, my name's Joe. I suffered a hemorrhagic stroke 2016. I'm reaching out to other survivors to connect and build community, exchange stories. That's kind of it, and just get the conversation started. So everybody out there, like, I implore you, do the same. I'm pretty cool.
Yes.
Right, Bridge? I think I'm pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely. I don't remember who talked to who first, but I'm glad that like this connection between you and I happened. And then, I mean, just like the rest of the Brain Buddies just all happened after that. But I'm so thankful for this community, it's huge. And it's like one of like the key pieces of recovery is just like meeting other people that just
Really?
Understand it.
Really, because I say it frequently. I guess I just say like 3 things over and over and over again. And that's it. I don't have anything new to say. But we have like a little bit of a cheat code, because we came so close to death. So being back, there's all these little things that we just don't care about. So many people stress about all this little insignificant things. We don't have that. We know what it is to almost not be here. So I think we also know how beautiful life is and how to truly live it in this moment. We're not always perfect, but we know what that is.
Yes.
I think that's why it's great to talk to other survivors, Like it's weird. I never met you before. And the moment I started to talk to you, I was like, oh, this is my friend. You know what I mean?
It was like an instant friendship. It was so crazy.
Also, you're pretty crazy, which I love because I'm pretty crazy. And I'm like, oh man, crazy loves company. Like this is great.
It's so true though.
If you enjoy listening to this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on the Apple Podcast app. Your reviews help us grow and reach more listeners like you.
Find us by searching for the NeuroNerds on the Apple Podcast app today. So you have 2 children. Are there any more in the future, Bridge?
Hopefully. I mean,
Seriously?
like our plan was that we would have one right after Roman. But unfortunately,
well,
I still have.
You kind of screwed that up by having a stroke. Good job, Bridge.
Yeah, I know. It's such a pain. It's like, why did it have to happen then? Maybe if I had like 3 more kids, it would have been fine.
Do you have any advice to any stroke survivor mothers out there?
Just be patient with yourself. I mean, I'm pretty sure that goes for all stroke survivors, but I mean, especially moms, it's like you automatically focus on your children first. Like you always come second. So I can't sit there and say, put yourself first because it will never happen, but try and just focus on yourself more.
Has there been anything that's been more difficult than it should be post-stroke with raising your kids?
I mean, at first it was the sleep. With a newborn, you don't get very much sleep. And with a brain injury, sleep is incredibly important to
necessary.
Yeah, like your brain, it recovers itself when you're sleeping. And so that was really hard because I wasn't sleeping and I was with a fresh brain injury. So that was really hard. But I mean, overall, I'm pretty sure that my stroke has made me a way better mother than I was before. Which,
yeah, I'm sure you are incredible, and you're just double incredible.
I like to think so.
Let me ask you a question because I've seen your photography because you're a photographer. You're an incredible photographer. You really are.
Joe.
Has your vision changed? Not like your actual vision, but like the way you see things and take pictures. Is it different now post-stroke?
Oh yeah, I wasn't taking pictures before my stroke.
Really?
Chris bought me a camera for my birthday. And then 3 weeks after that, my stroke happened. And so I was like using my camera, but honestly, I didn't really know how to use my camera because cameras are really complicated. And so
yes.
After my stroke happened, I started noticing the memory problems kicking in, and I wasn't remembering things. I remember it was like Halloween. I was pregnant. I had gotten out of the hospital, but I was still pregnant with Roman. And the day after Halloween, I didn't remember Halloween. I didn't remember what my daughter was. I didn't remember any of that. And so then I was like, okay, I need to start taking pictures. And so that's like what started me on my binge of just taking pictures of everything.
Like that's actually beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think it was like meant to be because I love your photography. Like, I think you do an amazing job.
Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely like I keep changing my like at first it was just like my kids, you know, like every single picture is of my kids, but then I started to slowly like take pictures of other stuff.
Oh yeah, like the cactus that looks like it's flipping you off. Those guys,
my
all
penis
those
cactuses.
Yeah, the big green wangs. It's weird because what do you call it? They're cacti, right? When it's more than one, it's cacti.
Yeah, but nobody like says that here. I'm sure that's like the technical term, but I've never actually spoken to someone who says that.
They all kind of look like they're flipping you off. It's really weird.
Yeah, they do.
You know?
It's like, have a good day.
So you do. So Bridget has a tattoo of a cacti or a cactus. I don't know, whatever is it on her like inner forearm. Is it outer forearm?
I don't know I don't know, Joe. I don't know what that's called.
Also, Bridget has some dope tattoos. She has one of the coolest stroke survivor tattoos I've ever seen. It's on your calf, correct?
No, my arm.
Is it on your arm? Why did I think it's on your calf? Do you have something on your calf?
Yeah, I have a Audrey Hepburn on my calf.
I don't know why I got your brain tattoo confused with Audrey Hepburn. But you know, I did have a brain injury, so at least I remembered you had tattoos.
Yeah, right.
So we're talking about your tattoos and Bridge, your amazing tattoo. That's a brain, right?
Yeah.
And half of the brain is like a regular brain, and the other brain is like the stroke half of your brain, which is super dope. I love that concept.
Yeah, I really liked it. I knew I wanted this for the longest time, and it took me a long time to get it. I don't remember how far out after my stroke. I remember like thinking in the hospital, like I'm going to get a tattoo of this, you know, to like commemorate this. But then I don't remember how long after it actually took me to like go and get it done. But
was that like an emotional moment? Because it's like, you know, it means it's a stroke tattoo. Like it's a constant reminder of like, oh yeah, I almost died.
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional moment, especially because I do have a lot of tattoos, but I haven't had any tattoos in a long time. And so it was just kind of cool that like, I don't know, that there was something so monumental happening in my life that I was like drawn to a tattoo.
Hey, it's a beautiful tattoo. I love it. And so you get the Brain Buddies tattoo on your forehead, right?
Yeah. I'll definitely get a face tattoo for that. Maybe like below the eye. I'll get a face tattoo.
I'm not gonna have any. I'm not gonna have any face tattoos. I think I'm hideous enough. I don't think it's gonna make me look better. It'll probably make me look worse.
No. The more tattoos, the better.
Well, I have several. You know, I have on the inside of my arm. Me and Felice have it like it's like a matching tattoo. It's like family, prosperity,
Aww.
life. It's really cool. And then I have my Joe the Boy Who Lived tattoo. My stroke survivor tattoo, my Punisher tattoo. Yeah, this is gonna be my nerd arm over here.
Oh.
And then at some point, I think I'm gonna get NeuroNerds in there. Maybe I'll get NeuroNerds across my neck, right? There's nothing more gangster than
I definitely feel like that's really, or like one across your stomach, you know?
Oh yeah,
a giant NeuroNerds.
Yeah, instead of my 6-pack, the keg that I'm rocking over here. The 2-liter bottles that I have rocking down there.
2-liter bottles.
So Bridge, being a mother, being an incredible warrior princess, is warrior princess or warrior queen? Which one do you prefer?
I want to say warrior goddess. I don't know if that's like a
goddess. Let me ask you a question. What's your nerdum? Because we always ask like people like what's your nerdums? Like some people it's like superheroes, some people it's like cars. You know, like what's your nerdum?
Yeah, I don't really know, Joe. I don't think I have one.
Well, photography and nature for sure.
Yeah, like does that count?
It absolutely counts.
You know what though? Mm-hmm. I know I'm like incredibly late to this party, but I just started watching Game of Thrones and I feel kind of nerdy watching it and I like it. I like that show.
You should feel nerdy. That show has everything. It has murder. It has nudity. It has incest. There's so much going on.
Yeah,
have you finished a season yet? No,
I'm like on the 4th episode of the first season.
All right. I'm going to give you some advice. Okay. Do you have a favorite character?
I mean, I honestly, I just like Felice because
I'll say this. Don't fall in love with anyone.
They all die.
I'm not saying they all die, but at least 4 times, because I've seen every episode. Every single time I'm like, I love that dude. Dead. immediately. So it's kind of like watching Friends. And if you watch Friends, like the TV show, and it'd be like, oh man, I really like Chandler. And then the next episode, Chandler gets beheaded. It's so crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's that one girl. I'm so bad with their names because their names are crazy. But the daughter, she's like a badass and she like uses a sword all the time and she's like taking lessons.
Oh,
like,
Arya.
Yeah. I'm like, this girl, like this show could just be about her and I would completely watch it. I love it.
Arya is super dope. And so is Felice. Well, her name isn't, I'm going to get yelled at by Lauren and she's going to like kick me in the face.
Yeah, because it's not Khaleesi, is it?
It's not. It's Daenerys Targaryen. She's Khaleesi is the title. It's kind of like Queen. Also, she's our people. She survived 2 strokes.
I know. Yeah. That's like the only reason I agreed to watch the show because Chris has been asking me to watch that show for a while, but like I'm not really into crazy, like violent things like that. And so I was like, I'm not watching it. And then after the whole thing happened, I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll start watching the show.
It's absolutely crazy violence. To be honest, I think your husband wants to see it because of the nudity. But, you know, he's a dude. I get it. This April
and May,
our Patreon donation spotlight is brain aneurysm survivor Amelia Clark's new nonprofit, sameyou.org.
Their mission is to create immediate post-acute rehabilitation for young adults who have suffered a brain injury or stroke. A portion of our Patreon proceeds will go towards this amazing nonprofit.
Sign up to support us at patreon.com/the NeuroNerds. Hashtag the NeuroNerds give back. So Bridge, I can't tell you what an honor this was, like to have you just on the episode. It's amazing. It's always great like having my brain buddies on because I'm getting to know you even better as a person. And that's beautiful because like we're family. I always say we're bonded by stroke, but like we're friends and family by choice, you know? I'm so happy to know you. And every day that goes by, I think we become like better friends. And that warms my heart.
Absolutely. It's crazy that we can be such close friends. But like, I mean, I've only met you once and we live how far apart, but I feel like we constantly keep in communication with each other, which is so nice.
We have to adults. You know what I mean? Like we're grown ass people. Like we have to be like, hey, I really dig you. We're going to be friends, whether you like it or not. That's right. I'm forcing my friendship on you. You're going to talk to your husband.
Okay with
you're
it, you know?
You're going to be like, look, I don't even like Joe. Like, damn it, he's annoying. That's how I got Felice. She didn't want to date me for 10 years. I'm like, I am going to annoy you. I'm going to break you down into dating you, woman. I think it worked.
I like your style.
If nothing, I'm persistent. So, Bridge, this is, again, it's been my honor to have you. I can't explain to you how much your friendship and you being my brain buddy means to me. I also can't I can't even fathom what it took to go through what you went through and to end up right here. You are such a warrior goddess.
Hey, you are a warrior goddess too, Joe. Just because I was pregnant doesn't make it any better or worse. We both are.
It absolutely does, but I appreciate you calling me a warrior goddess because Lord knows, since I've been watching you do your Insta stories and with the upcoming TV show at some point, because that has to be a thing, I want to be a strong, independent woman as well.
Yes.
Those are life goals.
Cue the INDEPDENT song right here. INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that mean, man? I'm already so proud of myself. I just spelled that right.
So, as always, the NeuroNerds, we are here to help on behalf of Lauren. We really, really appreciate you, Bridget. We love you. You can follow us at the NeuroNerds everywhere. Follow Lauren at Lauren L. Manzano on Instagram. Follow me at Joso Rocks everywhere. Follow Bridget at Bridget Chiovari at Instagram. Can you spell your last name for us, Bridge?
It's CHIOVARI. But my Instagram handle is Bridget Clarice.
Oh, you can follow her at Bridget Clarice at Instagram. We'll put all this stuff in the show notes and you guys can click on it and see how amazing this strong, independent woman, warrior, goddess is.
Thank you so much, Joe.
As always, the NeuroNerds, we are here to help. And on that note, this NeuroNerd is out. Thanks to our sponsor, Avid Technology, for providing us with the tools, or should I say, pro tools, to record, edit, and mix our podcast and get our message out clearly to the world.
Try Avid first to start recording today for free at avid.com/pro-tools.
Yay.
Yay.